It is my honor to all of you, Section Alpha to Lima, in the subject Comparative Models in Policing. Welcome to this simple presentation as an ending discussion as far as the whole subject is concerned. So the thing that I will discuss in this subject matter, comparative models in policing, is chapter 4, which is the last part of the subject matter. Chapter 4 is all about international cooperations and organizations, international policing cooperations and organizations. No? So you have to understand that the very purpose of the subject as a whole is to give an opportunity to all students and future law enforcers the avenue for them to broaden and strengthen their appreciation as far as policing is concerned. In your research, you are able to see that policing is affected by the type of government, by the type of culture, and of course, religion, including the population, and above all is the economic status of a country. So those are some of the common aspects or factors that affects the efficiency and effectiveness of a policing body of a certain nation. So by virtue of this subject matter, you will see and more appreciate the different modes and ways how policing is being implemented globally speaking. So this subject is not intended to put down the Philippine policing, but this will give us more wider appreciation about policing, so that in the future, if we are in the field of law enforcement, then at least we can contribute as far as the improvement of policing is concerned. Okay, so with that, I hope you will use this simple material for your guidance as we end the semester as far as the subject matter is concerned. So let us proceed and discuss chapter 4, which is again the international policing cooperations and organizations. But before we proceed, before I forget, that international policing cooperations and organizations were created because of a global threat of certain crimes. That there are crimes that not only affect a single country or a single nation, but there are many crimes that is already affecting 2 or more countries. The effect of these crimes affect 2 or more countries. They are already considered borderless crimes. And these crimes that I am pertaining to are those considered as transnational crimes. Transnational crimes and also those that are considered international crimes. And also, you have to remember this, that because of globalization, because of technology, because of improvement in transportation in this world, people can move easily from one place to another. People can hide from one country to another. And therefore, detection and arrest of these people is difficult. For example, if a person have committed a crime in the Philippines and fled to USA, the Philippine National Police cannot go to America and arrest the person. Why? Because we have no jurisdiction. And to solve these problems, as mentioned a while ago, the global community and leaders have initiated to come up with a measure in order to combat these global problems. And that is the creation of international organizations such as the United Nations, and in connection to policing, we have the UN police, we have the Interpol, we have the ASEANapol, and so forth and so on. And these are global in nature. This is where international policing will enter to, no? So, dahil sa mga international treaties, cooperations na ito, nagkaroon na tayo ng international policing, no? But remember this, that these organizations or international organizations have no force or authority if it is not requested by its member or counterparts, no? So, in other words, these international organizations and corporations only operates to provide assistance, law enforcement assistance when necessary. So again, that is the importance of this chapter for you to appreciate international policing. Okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us discuss chapter 4 of the subject comparative models of policing. All right. So chapter 4 is all about international policing and cooperation. Okay, so do not forget that. So, of course, before we proceed further, uh, let us see the learning outcomes of this chapter. The students at the end of the chapter are expected to discuss the different scopes and impact of existing international policing cooperation to control of crimes and peace. Recognize the importance of these international efforts towards the combat of transnational crime. So I hope that after this chapter, we will be able to discuss the different scopes and impact of existing international policing cooperation in the control of crimes and keeping the peace in the world. Then also recognize the importance of these international efforts towards the combat of transnational crimes. Next is the rationale of the chapter, no? So this topic in chapter 4 is all about the significance of international policing efforts in this current nature of crime problems, which even affects the peace and order of other nations. You have to always remember that these transnational crimes exist because of globalization. That is one contributory factor in the propagation of transnational crimes, which is a serious challenge to the effectivity and that measures the effectivity of law enforcement to almost all nations. International then cooperation opens great opportunities for law enforcement assistance by its members towards other members. So with this, in chapter 4, we will discuss the following results. These are the results of international treaties. These are the results of international cooperations. That is the creation of the United Nations Police, the ICPO, the ASEANapol, the Europol, the IACP, and the IPA, among others. Okay? So let us proceed. So as you see, this is the logo of the United Nations Police. So by seeing UNPOL, I hope you will understand that it's United Nations with ASEAN, United Nations Police. Next is United Nations Police or UNPOL. Its functions and roles. It operates under international rule. So remember this, the UNPOL operates based on international rule of law and human rights frameworks. And all of these necessities additional operational skill sets, including the ability to engage and collaborate with other UN or United Nations and NGO entities and host state government. Itong UNPOL na ito, okay, so as you see, these are the results of international treaties, cooperations by the international community. We have the UNPOL, the Interpol, the ASEANapol, the Europol, the IACP, and the IPA. United Nations Police, that is under the United Nations, the ICPO, International Criminal Police Organization, or in short known as Interpol. We have the Association of Southeast Asian National Police, the ASEANapol, and members are those members of the ASEAN, yes, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Then the Europol, that is in Europe, the European Police, the IACP, International Association of Chiefs of Police, and the IPA, or the International Police Association. Okay, so let us proceed. This is the UNPOL logo, as you see, so that when you see that logo, then you will remember the logo represents the organization. No? Then the functions of the United Nations Police. No? It operates under international rule of law and human rights frameworks. So ang UNPOL is under the United Nations, and the UNPOL provides assistance to those countries that needed most the assistance of the United Nations Police. No? So yung host state government, pag sinabing host, it is the one that needed assistance, no, from the UNPOL. Then also the UN police officer has grown from simple observation to include executive policing and operational support, reforming and restructuring the host state law enforcement agencies. As I said a while ago, of course, the UNPOL have its own police officer, or United Nations police officer. Then this United Nations police officer, they're the one that will personally go and assist the host state law enforcement agencies for building capacity or other policing services to their communities to be more effective. And also the UNPOL, the mission of the UNPOL is to enhance international peace and security. Remember this, itong mga international cooperations, treaties, and organizations, they play important role in the maintenance of peace and order in the global or in the worldwide arena. This also prevents, number one, the occurrence of major conflicts by nations, generally speaking. No, that is why we are happy that there is no World War III because of international treaties and cooperations. No? Also in law enforcement or in policing, as far as crimes as problems, the global community are, as I said, they are moving as one to combat these transnational crimes. No? So another is United Nations Police build and support, or where mandated, act as substitute or partial substitute if needed by a certain state police or state host country kung kinakailangan, no? Uh, Kaya sila pumupunta sa Congo, sa African regions who most need the presence of United Nations police, no? Remember this as far as the UNPOL is concerned. As of this moment, there are 9,000 United Nations police officers, and these 9,000 police officers are from 94 countries. No, in the United Nations there are almost 193 members. No, but only 94 countries were able to give their own police officers. For example, in the Philippines there are 10. No, meron tayong 10 members ng Philippine National Police na pinadala as member of the United Nations Police. So, galing din sa iba't ibang member countries yung mga members ng UNPOL. Okay? Next, as you can see, if you can see it, Bangladesh, as of March 31, 2022, as of this moment, Bangladesh is the #1 provider of police officers from their own national police to the UNPOL as members of it. Almost 6,709 police officers from Bangladesh were forwarded to the United Nations Police. Okay? Yan, followed by Nepal, India, Rwanda, Pakistan, yan, and Ethiopia. Okay, so Bangladesh, #1, #2 is Nepal, India, Rwanda, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Egypt, Indonesia. Tinalo pa ng Bangladesh ang China. So remember this, gaano man kayaman, kahirap, ka-advance ang policing system ng isang country, hindi yan basihan sa kung gaano karami ang pinadala sa UNPOL. So Bangladesh is not that much in terms of economy sa China, but still they are #1 as to providers of police officers to UNPOL. Okay. Then we have also Malawi, Guinea, Spain, Uganda, 769, Jordan, Germany, Sri Lanka, United Kingdom, 552 police officers, South Korea, Tunisia, Ireland, Benin, Fiji, Kenya, Ukraine is 305. Yan. Finland is 223, Portugal, Peru, El Salvador, Slovakia, Serbia, Argentina. Ng Pilipinas, Poland, Congo, yan, mas mataas pa ang Congo. Uruguay, yan, Brazil, Vietnam, saan ang Pilipinas? Philippines. So as of today, Philippines have forwarded 10 members of the Philippine National Police to the United Nations Police as members therein. Okay? So at least we have a counterpart in the United Nations Police. Okay? Next is Estonia, Slovenia, Colombia, Gabon, Japan. Yan, tinalo pa natin ang Japan. Until Qatar and Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is 0. Okay. Next, let us further understand what is all about what is United Nations. No, sabi ko nga ang UNPOL is under United Nations, no? So what is UN? It stands for United Nations. Huwag niyong kalimutan yung S, incomplete is wrong. It stands for United Nations, which is an international organization founded in 1945. So just after the World War II. Kaya ano sinasabi ko na ang United Nations and other international organizations or bodies have played an important role in the maintenance of peace and order and security in the entire world that prevented the occurrence of a major disaster, World War III. No? So as of 2022, there are 193 member countries or states in the UN. Mas mataas ngayon ang Interpol. Kasi ang Interpol at this moment, they have 195 members. So UN is committed in maintaining international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations and promoting social progress, better living standards and human rights. Kaya pag may loko-loko against any member of the United Nations, the United Nations will come against you. Okay? So next is, of course, to look into some of the history of UNPOL as under UN. So it was in the person of Trygve Lie, a UN Secretary General. He suggested the establishment of UNPOL or United Nations Police Service in 1948. So mas nauna ang UN bago ang UNPOL, no? So wag kayong malito diyan. UNPOL is under the United Nations, 1948. Yun na nga, Trygve Lie suggestion have prospered. So nabuo ang UNPOL, United Nations Police Service, na tinawag natin ngayon na UNPOL. Then a major considerations in the history is the UNOC. UNOC, I should say, is the United Nations Operation in Congo. Yan yung kauna-unahan na United Nations Police Deployment in 1960. Yan. We have also the United Nations Peacekeeping Force in Cyprus, or UNFI-CYP. That is the first component of police deployed for peacekeeping operation in 1964. Then we have the FPO, or the Foreign Police Units. You have to notice this consists of approximately 140 UN police officers trained and equipped to act as cohesive unit capable of accomplishing policing tasks that individual police officer could not address. So this is a unit. So binubuo yan ng 2 or more, 140, I should say, police officer. Okay? Then also, UNPOL foreign police units have 3 core duties: public order management, protection of United Nations personnel and facilities, and support to such police operations that require concerted response. The United Nations individual police officers are first and foremost members, as yun yung sinasabi ko. Anong tawag natin sa isang example, yung PNP member natin, pumunta sa UNPOL, yan ang tinatawag nating UN individual or IPO, individual police officer. Sila ay galing in their own national services and they're seconded to work with the United Nations. As I said a while ago, individual police officers to the UNPOL, they come from nations large and small. Sabi ko nga, Bangladesh kanina is the top provider. Rich and poor, they bring different cultures and experience to the job, but they are united in their determination to foster peace. The nature of UN policing is to protect civilian. It is a community-oriented policing, and capacity building is given to host state police. So pag sinabi kong host state, or pag sinabing host state, yan yung requesting party or the party that needed capacity building or assistance from the UN police. Okay? UN Police Division exists and it comprises the Office of the Police Advisor, the Strategic Policy and Development Section, the Selection and Recruitment Section, the Mission Management and Support Section, and the Standing Police Capacity. The UN Police Division is led by the United Nations Police Advisor. So do not forget that. The UN Police Division is created, or it creates policy and guidance and defining the parameters of international police peacekeeping. It also provides technical advice to police components of UN police operation. I would like to remind everybody that the main function of the police is to keep the peace. That is why the police is considered peacekeepers, no? Peacekeepers, and they are not peacemaker. Ang peacemaker is the community. If you are using a community-based policing, then we shall consider the police officers as peacekeepers. They maintain the peace. And who are the peacemaker? The peacemaker is the community. So if the community are united, the community is cooperative, then they are making peace. If they are not cooperative, then there will be no peace. And that is a problem of the police. The absence of crime is the measurement of police effectiveness. Okay, so do not forget that. Let us know who is a UN police advisor. A UN police advisor is the head of the UN Police Division who is accountable to the Assistant Secretary General for rule of law and security institutions. He has direct access to the Undersecretary General for peace operations when required. The UN Police Advisor is responsible also providing advice and support on all policing issues to the Department of Peace Operations and the Department of Operational Support to the heads of police components of operations led by the Department of Peace Operations and missions led by the Department of Political Affairs with police advisory function. So that is the UN police advisor. Who is the current police advisor of the UNPOL? He is Police Commissioner Luis Carrillo. Luis Carrillo. Another consideration in UNPOL is we have the DPO, the UN DPO, Department of Peace Operation. This provides political and executive direction to UN peacekeeping operations around the world and maintains contact with the Security Council of the UN, troop and financial contributors and parties to the conflict in the implementation of Security Council mandates. The UNDPO traces its roots in 1948 in the creation of the first UN peacekeeping operations. This DPO provides guidance and support on military, police, mine action, and other relevant issues to the other UN political and peace-building missions. The head of the DPO is the Undersecretary General for Peace Operations, and the current head as of this year is Mr. Jean-Pierre Lacroix. Yeah. Lacroix. Next is what is UNODC. So isa itong isang unit din under the United Nations. This stands for United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. This is a global leader in the fight against illicit drugs and international crime. Yan. So ang focus ng UNODC is the combat of drugs, because remember, dangerous drug problem is a worldwide phenomenon. Okay? So na-create sila ng special unit in 1997, and its headquarters is in Vienna, Austria, and New York. So do not forget that. Who is the head of the UNODC, or sometimes they call it the United Nations Office at Vienna? Is the Director General or the Executive Director and holds the rank of Undersecretary General of the United Nations. And the current head of the UNODC is Gada Fatih Wali, an Egyptian and current head of the UNODC. So that is the United Nations. Okay, police. So do not forget that.